You are not going to make six figures working 40 hours a week. If it were easy, everyone would do it.
All right. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Fitz and Franson Show. I'm Fitz.
Yep, and I'm Franson.
I'm
The
Telisha.
show. Oh, what's
Yep.
going on, Telisha? All right. Well, this is the show where we talk about leadership, business growth, and what it actually takes to build something that lasts without losing yourself in the process.
Yeah, and we're not here for hype, we're here for clarity. And today we have a guest who embodies exactly that. So someone who shows up every single day and runs a business like her name is on the door, even when it isn't. So Telisha Day is the sales and marketing manager at Sullivan's Concrete Coatings out of Salem, Indiana. Telisha, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Telisha, I got to be honest, Jay has been talking about you for a while now, so I've been looking forward to this. This is my first time getting to meet you, but I feel like I already know a little bit about you from the conversations with Jay. So I'm really excited to dig in and get your story.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And for our audience, whether you're a homeowner, a business owner, or someone grinding in a company that isn't yours yet, this conversation is going to hit a little bit differently, hopefully, because Telisha's story is about something we talk about a lot on this show, which is having that ownership mindset.
Yeah. So, Telisha, let's maybe start at the beginning. If you could maybe tell us a little bit about who you are, where you come from, and I guess how you ended up in the concrete coatings world, because I don't imagine many people wake up in the morning and say, I think I want to start selling coatings for a living.
Yes. So I started selling yellow pages way back
Wow.
18 years ago. Yes, I sold yellow pages. 2007, 2008, when smartphones came out, the yellow pages pretty much went bye-bye. So did a few other things, but I was working at Waste Management in 2019 when Shannon decided to get a hold of me and tell me about him opening this concrete coating company. And I've known Shannon and Lana for several years, mostly his wife, Lana. And when he approached me about the position, I thought, what in the world? Concrete coatings. And our neighbors are actually from Michigan, and they had their garage floor coated by a competitor. And they're like, oh my gosh, Telisha, I think this is a great opportunity. Everyone in Michigan has their garage floors coated. I didn't know much about it, but it was one of the best decisions to come and work for Shannon of my life. Completely
Cool.
Yes.
That's cool. And so you joined with Shannon in 2019?
2019, yes.
So you were with him like practically from day one?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. He'd
That's
never
awesome.
owned a business. Yeah. I created the Facebook page back when Facebook was easy. And it was him, Dale Zolman, and myself. I was out selling, and we're getting ready to start our 8th crew. So it's really exciting to be a part of this journey. It really is.
Yeah, that's cool. So what was the company like in those early days versus like right now where you said you guys are adding an 8th crew? And I know from the marketing side, 2 locations. You guys are in 2 states now too.
Yes. It is so exciting. And we have the absolute best crews. Both of his sons run a crew.
Cool.
He's very selective about who he hires. Everyone is treated like family. We have Angie, who handles the Louisville market right now. We're getting ready to bring in another sales rep. So everyone pretty much here is like family. That's the biggest thing. And that's what I tell people when I go out and sell. I talk about the crews and why we're the best in the area, because the people who work here. For sure. Our 2 office girls, Julie, Christian, who does our scheduling downstairs, they care so much. Shannon brings that environment where everyone is family. And we all know that anytime we needed anything, he's got our back. So it means a lot.
That's really cool. Well, I mean, that's quite the evolution and growth, obviously, from going from never owning a business to now, multiple states and 8 crews. And obviously you're a big part of that, helping build that from the inside. What does your role actually look like, from a day-to-day perspective, being, in charge of the sales and marketing for the organization there?
Busy. So, I'm still running a lot of the Indiana leads and commercial leads. So we actually sell a lot of commercial jobs, and it's great. We do a lot of schools. So when Dina comes in a couple of weeks, she's kind of going to take over the Indiana market, so I can focus on the schools and everything that we do and other commercial projects while still, I'll post the Facebook, and everything that comes in. But trying to step away a little bit and focus on other things.
Hmm.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah. It's such an interesting like evolution too. You scale from. I know when companies are small, it's kind of like everybody wears all the hats based on the need in the moment,
Yes.
and it's like, oh hey, today your production because production didn't show up. It's like great, I'm gonna figure that out. Spur of the moment. And I
Yes.
think that as companies scale, it's a neat opportunity to start to focus really on what you excel at rather than just kind of being a catch-all for everything. You
Abs-
said something on a LinkedIn post, and Telisha, we Powerful Media's worked with you guys for a while now, over a year, I think, close to 2 years maybe. And I'm not a huge fan of LinkedIn. Like I'm on social media enough at it as it is, but I jumped into LinkedIn and started kind of clicking through, and you're pretty active on that, and you post some really good stuff. And one of the ones that caught my eye was you said, "I'm not the owner of Sullivan's Concrete, but I treat it like I am." Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Like what happened in your mind shift, or what does that really look like for you?
yes. Just being passionate about, and the business. And I think it's from starting with him so early and
Hmm.
seeing what we've done. Every single person I talk to, I mean, I'm passionate about the business, you
Hmm.
know. I treat it like it's my own when I talk to people, and I care about the installers, and I try to show them and tell them every day how important they are. It's not about me.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter how much I sell. It wouldn't
Yeah.
mean anything if they weren't out,
Right.
completing the jobs the way I say they're going to be completed. I think about it all the time. I mean, work,
Yeah.
just very proud, when I talk to customers. And I think they know that and they see that. But I think if it weren't for Shannon and Lana being such good people, I mean,
Hmm.
and all of us knowing we can go to them for anything, I think if every owner treated their employees the way that they do us,
Hmm.
they would have the same mindset, you know.
Sure.
And I know a lot of
I feel like that, that's definitely a culture thing that's definitely driven from the top down, but it's still an incredibly, kind of rare mindset that you find even when that culture is being pushed from the top down. And honestly, it's a mindset that a lot of employees don't end up developing at times. And it's also, I think, the reason that there's a lot of employees that find themselves maybe even stuck or don't grow past where they currently are or get to the spots that they want to go. And Jay, we end up seeing this all the time in the conversations that we have.
Yeah. Yeah. All the time. Businesses that scale are a lot of times the ones that are able to get the leadership team to recognize this ownership. And like you're saying, it starts with Shannon, but he's led in such a way that it's evident that it's trickled down through the rest of the company. And then, you know, you're going from nothing 6, 7 years ago to 8 crews. I think that's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, if you're listening to this and one of the takeaways, and I saw that post too, Talisha, and I thought it was a really good one that I think one of the takeaways you should have from that if you're kind of sitting in a spot and you're, I don't know, maybe you're waiting for somebody to hand you equity in the business to start caring about the bottom line. You probably have already lost like a stake in the equity at that point. That ownership mentality is really what creates that opportunity for you. It's not the other way around. And that was at least my takeaway from that comment. I think that's a really powerful thing.
So we kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about sales. We see you typically are in like the top of the leaderboards on sales at Pentech, and it's a regular thing for you. And so we were wondering if maybe we could dialogue a little bit, kind of about the product side, and the homeowners or the business owners who are thinking about coating their floors. You guys use, and we know this, but for the listeners, it's a polyurea system. It's different than epoxy. When you're in the homes or when you're sharing, the public schools is a great place for you to maybe share your insight. Because I talk to customers that are like, oh, if I could do garages all day, every day, that's all I want. But then I have other dealers like you, and where they go, oh, the commercial work. There's such a rich opportunity in commercials. So when you're talking to people about the product specifically, what are some things that you found that you're like, oh, this is a button that if I push it, it works?
Yes. Mostly it's the just being antibacterial and antimicrobial.
Hmm.
What really started at West Washington School here in Campbellsburg. We did an entryway for them and posted it on Facebook, and then another school trickled in. We did Mitchell, an entryway there. One of the maintenance men saw it on Facebook and I got
Oh,
to
wow.
explaining it to them, and we did their whole auxiliary gym.
Wow.
It's just you have to be confident whenever you're talking about. You have to know that Pentec has the absolute best material on the market. You have to
Hmm.
know it in your heart, and you have to convey it. LVT, LVP, it's not waterproof. Carpet
Hmm.
is so dirty, full of bacteria. And when you explain that to people and then they see it and you have proof and you show, the company cam photos, the proof speaks for itself. But you have to be confident and know what you're talking about, when you talk to people.
Hmm.
And I think I convey it well, and
Hmm.
it helps us too because we've done so many in the area.
Hmm.
If you have the right tools and can show, the proof of what it actually does, but you have to be
Hmm.
confident.
I grew up with a bunch of guys that are the blue collar type that do everything around their home themselves, and they're always pushing back on this kind of thing. They swear by the DIY kind of thing, and they've gone out and got their own epoxy kit and they rolled it on a Saturday, thought it looked great, and called it a day. So I guess how do you talk to them about they wasted their time or that kind of thing? How do you go about that
You're
process?
going to spend all that time prepping your floor, if you even prep it. We've seen it a million times when you go in garages and it's the speckled paint chips and you can see exactly where they pull in with the hot tires. In a year,
Hmm.
you're going to be calling me. If you're going to invest in your home, do it right with me the first time. Yes, it is an investment. Do you plan on living here? Is this your, retirement
Yeah.
home? Do you plan on living here? Don't do that. It'll peel up. You're going to be bringing it in on your shoes. Let me show you all of the customers that we've completed in your area. Let
Hmm.
me explain again why this is completely different than epoxy. There's no water, there's no filler. We actually leave the MSDS sheets with customers, showing them that there is no water, no filler.
Oh, that's really good. That's really good. And you beat me to it. I was going to tell Fitz that his buddies are going to be calling you in a year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Well,
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
yeah,
true.
they're nice guys, but they're not the brightest guys. That you would have you'd have long conversations and have to repeat yourself several times. I promise you that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Then I would have to charge you for a removal to remove that. So yeah, yeah. I know
Right.
they make it look so easy on YouTube. The
Hmm.
right.
DIY videos. Don't believe them. Don't believe it.
What do you think is when you go into a home, thinking, I guess, more on the residential side versus the commercial side? Because I know that's a lot of the network that we work with and that you're working in. That's primarily where their business is. What do you think is, I guess, one of the, besides maybe separating yourself on the product, if you had to say there was maybe another area that you're working to show a difference, right, in your process, in your connection with the homeowner, what else would you say? Hey, these are two or three keys that are absolute, can't never miss, situations that I have to hit every time I'm in a home with somebody.
Listen to the customer. Sales
Hmm.
reps, we have two ears and one mouth for a reason. Ask as many questions as you can and just get to know and care about the customer and listen to them. We're not in a
Hmm.
hurry. Take your time, listen, take notes. Pentec has so many tools that you can show customers as far as the stretch test, the hardness test. I mean, there's so many tools you can use to separate yourself from the competition other than, even if you're new starting off, use the tools that Pentec gives you. You
Hmm.
have the process video, but mostly it's just listening to the customer, showing that you care, be humble and just show all the tools.
I think that's a great point. I mean, we talk about this all the time. I know Jay and I both on the marketing side, on the sales side, but you mentioned that it's the quality product that's going to last versus the cheap product. And one of the things we talk about on a regular basis is building value. I'm a big believer. You can't do that unless you listen and hear where that person is placing their value, right? And I think that that's the biggest part about listening. And I think the thing that we're listening for is really where they're placing that value. And that's our biggest mistake. You got all of those tools, those resources with the videos and the specs and all of those things. And as salespeople, we're very quick to start telling people what we think they need to hear as opposed to trying to slow down and wait to be told what they need to hear at times. So, man, that's a good one. And I say this phrase a lot. If you're a salesperson listening to this, you should write that down,
Hmm.
listen to it and write it down because that's a thing that we miss far too often there for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. And this conversation, I'm on the marketing side. So Matt and I get to have arguments or like a complete disconnect in communication style, right? And I have this conversation a lot with my customers too, because sales blames marketing, marketing blames sales, and that's kind of the circle of life, right? And so this is a really valuable conversation to be had for my own benefit when I'm talking to customers that are like, how do I improve? Most of them come to me saying, you need to improve marketing. And then I try and listen to understand, right? There's the listen to reply people and there's the listen to
Mhm.
understand people. And this stuff is good. It's the idea that you're not selling the floor, you're selling so much more than that. And in our case, it really is like a permanent solution, which is a big deal.
Yeah, you're selling the installers as well. I'm telling
Hmm.
Shannon's our story, our company story, and how I got
Hmm.
here, talking about the installers by name, letting the customer know that we don't subcontract our work. You know,
Hmm.
Currently we have 6 crews. They're all certified. It's selling the installers as well.
Absolutely. They're the ones that are going to deliver that final product. And it's always funny. I was talking about this with a group earlier today that they're the ones that are always named in the reviews. As salespeople, we're always very quickly forgotten about.
Yes.
And as much as it pains us to say that they probably actually don't care that much about us, they seem to care about the installers quite a bit more,
Mhm.
kind of
Hmm.
thing. So if we can lean on them in the sales process, that's not such a bad thing for sure.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, another question for you. There's first off, it's been great hearing your take on it. I like the idea, and I like the phrase of salespeople are promise makers and the production are the promise keepers. And I think it's really important that you highlight that the promise keepers are the people that you care about too, which is great. So when you think about competition coming up in the industry as a whole, and then maybe in your area too, are there certain aspects over the last year or two that you've found that you've used to be key differentiators between you and the competition, more than just the name of Pentech? Maybe that is what you're doing.
Yeah, and just looking at our reviews, yeah, it is like, go to our Facebook page. We are posting actual jobs. Some of these competitors in the area, they're posting jobs nationwide. And I just encourage people, please do your due diligence. We have a website, we have 2 Google
Hmm.
pages, our Facebook, just do your due diligence. Yes, on us, on Pentech. Anytime someone
Hmm.
does that, they typically come to us. So just do your research.
Yeah. It's good. So we're going to shift gears a little bit. And I think this is something important to talk about as well is that, the construction and concrete industry historically is male dominated. And you're out there managing sales, marketing, and leadership for a significant regional operation at this point. What has that experience actually looked like?
Interesting. To me, so I grew up, my parents, so my mom runs a sawmill in Pekin to this day.
Oh,
And
no
so, yes,
kidding.
very blue collar. And I grew
Uh-huh.
up, and I'm so glad I did. So I grew up blue collar. I mean, after volleyball practice, I had to wheelbarrow sawdust and, you know,
Hmm.
do all the things, clean out the log deck. So it's funny. Sometimes I show up to people's houses sometimes and they're like, oh, I wasn't expecting a woman to show up. And I'm like, yes,
Hmm.
it's me. But just being professional,
Hmm.
when you walk up to a customer, you shake their hand and knowing the product, ask the right questions. It's interesting. It's fun because I get to
Hmm.
prove to them, hey, women can do this too. And
Yeah.
Angie's really good about it too. Our Louisville rep, she's very professional. She always looks nice. So we are selling a top of the line product. So,
Hmm.
you don't show up in pulley jeans and, you look professional. You speak professionally and, get to know people. So it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, you said Holy Jeans. One of the last interviews I did at my last company, I had an individual show up with they were, I think, the designer jeans. They were probably like $300 pair of jeans, but they were all the tattered and whole jeans. And I was like, come on, man. Like that's what we showed up in today. That's not going to fly here.
Right.
It was
Hmm.
like, what questions do you have for me? Thanks for the time. We'll see you later.
Yes.
But anyway, well, I'm curious, you've been doing this for a while now. What is the most surprising or maybe best lesson that you've learned since you've started in the industry?
Oh, that's a good question. The most surprising thing, truly the need when I started, I didn't know anything about concrete coating. And now, I mean, we've sold over 2,500 jobs. It's just such a huge thing, and how much we've grown in this area. And I feel like there are competitors coming into this market because they see all of our trucks. We have a competitor that sells garage doors and cabinets, and now he's doing it coating. And it's like, I feel like we are the reason why so many people are coming. It's such a huge thing now,
Yep.
and the fact that we are the leader in our areas is so surprising and such a beautiful thing.
It's definitely become a popular market segment, and we're talking about that more and more with the other dealers around the country and the other concrete coating companies around the country. That I think, Jay, you were talking about it up in Baltimore. There's like 90 dealers or something like that now, or competitive companies in the area. It's a popular market segment that I can be in a home in the morning and out of it in the afternoon and have a happy, satisfied customer that posts a 5-star review. That's a pretty attractive thing. And I think the good news for companies like you and people that do it the right way is that there's going to be a lot of people that try it, but there's not a lot of great businesses that are being run out there. And that means that they're going to get into it, do it poorly, create unsatisfied customers, which means that they will create more market share opportunity for those that do it the right way. So, and based off of everything you're talking about, I have a sneaking suspicion you guys will continue to grow because you're doing it the right way.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. I have another question for you. When I talk to dealers across the country and they talk to me about sales, and I say, I don't know what your sales team is like, but women are crushing it across the country in this industry. And so if you had a young woman that approached you and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about, moving into, the trades or construction or adjacent business to like that," what would you tell her that she would need to know getting into it?
Absolutely. That you're going to have to work hard, and you're going to have to learn how to take criticism. You need to be humble, and you need to be grateful every day. Just be grateful for what you have and learn. There's things that I learned still to this day. And Shannon knows if something doesn't go, you have to take criticism. You don't know everything, So that's the biggest thing, but you have to work hard. You are not going to make 6 figures working 40 hours a week. That's what I've learned. You have to put in the time, put in the hours. If it were easy, everyone would do it.
For the record, there's a lot of meathead guys that could listen to that too, just for the record. So
that was just really good advice, period.
And I don't think that I'm not listening, just to motivational books, while I'm in the car. I really like music sometimes, especially when I'm tired, but there are motivational books I try to listen to while I'm in the car because we can all do better always. We can always better ourselves.
No doubt. What's the latest book that you've been listening to?
The latest is, you're going to maybe laugh. You asked me on the fly. It's How to Become a People Magnet. And really, it talks about just listening. Don't criticize others, just how to be a better person. Yes.
I like it. I like it. Yeah. It's
How to
funny
become
how
a people magnet. Sorry. How to become a people magnet.
all good. I like it. It's we get the opportunity to talk to so many people across the industry on the show, and it's a common theme, right? All those that are doing good things and continuing to grow, they all seem to be hungry for more knowledge, and reading and listening to things is a common theme. So again, for those that are looking for ways to get better, that seems to be the secret sauce, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well,
and shameless plug our podcast. Also.
Well, yeah, that's the number one thing they watch or listen to for sure.
Number one thing number one.
Yeah. So, let's talk a little bit about, I guess, growth, since we're kind of, that's a nice segue there, I guess, right? So, Sullivan's, went from that startup in 2019. Now you guys, you said 8 crews. What was it? 570 some odd reviews, I guess, right? Almost 5 stars at this point. And what is the recommendation level? Jay, you were mentioning that it was like 98% or something like that on Facebook. Is that right? That doesn't happen by accident. What do you think were the biggest growing pains in getting from maybe the small local crew to the big regional operation?
I would say finding the right people, finding the right sales rep, who's going to come in here, treat the business like it's their own. And as far as the reviews, it's really hard for people to go onto Facebook and figure out how to leave a review. Sometimes I feel like our customers, it's kind of confusing for them to go on there. But yeah, definitely the biggest challenge has been you have to find the right people, the right salespeople, help grow it. So we're doing for we have the right people in place. So we're excited.
Yeah, Matt and I have talked about kind of the stages of growth, and that early stage is you all kind of do it, and then you realize once you built the systems, you can install a great floor. Then it becomes about finding people that can help you duplicate it. And we talk about that all the time here is you don't really scale a business, you scale the people.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And that ends up happening. So, what would you say has changed in terms of yourself personally, how you've had to operate as a leader over the course of the last 6, 7 years?
Yes, letting some things go as far as like worrying about what else is going on, like focusing more on commercial and letting some, like Angie coming in and letting go and letting her take that area. That's been my struggle is focusing
Hmm.
on what I need to focus on and letting go of some of the reins, reining it
Hmm.
in. And thank goodness for powerful media taking over the Facebook page because trying to run that, and that's a whole story in itself, how that's changed over the years. When we first started, it was the boosting of the posts.
Hmm.
Posts. Now it's everything has changed so much. So just getting the right people like you all in here and letting go of those
Hmm.
reins, and just letting
Yeah.
you all control that piece. And
Hmm.
It's a hard
Yeah.
thing to do.
Yeah, I
It-
was gonna say I think that there is that stretching of it was your baby. You built it, you grew it to this size, and then you're like, I think you and I had that conversation early on before you started with us.
yes.
You're like, I'm stretched too thin. There's too
Mhm.
many opportunities in front of me, and I have to pick something to let go of.
Yes.
And so it ended up being the marketing, which you freed you up to be in more homes, which is great.
Yes, absolutely. It's been life changing. Absolutely.
it's an important stage in that growth for the leaders and owners and organizations to recognize that it's time to let go of certain things and trust people to take the ball and run with it. And if you don't, you end up being the bottleneck in certain areas that hinders that growth. And unfortunately, at a certain point, starts to make it go backwards, right? Because the quality of everything starts to go down, and quality control becomes a problem. And when you think about quality control and scaling, that ends up becoming, as far as actually the work itself goes, that becomes a real challenge. And you mentioned people, you start to sell a lot more jobs and you're doing more jobs, you bring in more crews. That usually ends up being a spot where we see companies start to falter or fail. And you may even see competitors in your area, have those challenges. When you can't be on every job and the owner who was doing the work before, took care of every little detail on a job, and Mrs. Jones or Mr. Jones, got the chance to look over it with them and they could fix the little thing that bothered them. How do you maintain that quality, or how did you guys maintain that quality as you were growing, and maintain your reputation that you guys have on every single job that you're doing? Like, what were the things you put in place and that you checked on the jobs the way you guys are doing it now?
One of the things is bringing a girl in to handle the scheduling. If a customer calls in and says, "Hey, I scratched this area here," Shannon is really big on if there is a repair, he takes care of those people immediately.
Hmm.
Someone's not happy with something, he will handle it. When things, not often, but when things arise, we do what's right all the time. Bringing in the right people to handle those things.
Hmm.
That makes
Very
sense.
cool. Yeah, absolutely.
That's good.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
the speed to repair, that's unique. I like that.
There you go.
Mhm.
And some of this stuff goes back to values, and I'm curious if you guys have that stuff posted. It seems like if your values aren't, on that poster on the wall, or aren't out there in front of the team members being modeled, that corners end up getting cut. And so when you guys are looking at hiring, how do you introduce like the important values of the business, like from day one? What does it look like?
Really, so as far as sales reps, we have an amazing project manager here, Christian Justice, that does a phenomenal job with the installation team. But as far as sales goes, they will get in the car with me and ride with me and see how I talk to
Okay.
customers. I'm in the startup meeting every single morning with the installation team, just communicating with the installers. They're in here, all this, Angie's in here once a week. So it's just getting us all to weekly and talking about each job. But for sales, it's getting them in the car with me and teaching them how I do things, and so they can see.
Yeah, firsthand knowledge is important. There's no doubt, and yeah, they got to see how the leaders in the organization are doing it. I think that's something that as the company grows, that you can't lose sight of. And we have some teams that we work with where there are general managers and vice presidents and those kinds of things. And one of the things I'm always encouraging them is like, hey, keep a bag in your car and make sure it doesn't have to be every day or every week, but occasionally get out there and still run one every now and again, just one, so they know you still can do it, so that when you're talking to them and telling them, hey, you should try this or that, they got some extra respect for you when you're telling them, but also so that they know that you're still maintaining the values you're preaching at the same time. That's great.
Stopping in to see the installation teams too while we're out on the road, stopping in to see the guys, taking them snacks, drinks. I always try to have food in here and drinks for the guys, but just stopping in, yes, and that goes for sales too. Stopping in and seeing the crews and,
Absolutely. Yeah. I like it. Well, when you guys are doing great, you're growing and continue to get bigger, but fast forward 5 years from now, what does Sullivan's look like in shoot 2030, I guess that, or 2031 that would be.
Oh man, careful.
My goodness. Lots more people. In addition to the building, another location for sure. We've thought about that up in like the Lawrenceburg area, but lots more people is what I can see.
Very cool.
Family. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's exciting stuff. I talk to a lot of dealers on a regular basis about what their hopes and dreams are. And there's the guy that got into it, and him and his brother are starting the company, and it's like, what do you want? What's your next hire? Is it installers? Is it salespeople? What is it going to be, and what does that look like? And I think casting vision and dreaming is pretty fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, do you see the commercial side of this growing?
Yes. Absolutely. Just talking to people and really talking to architects, I feel like it's going to replace a lot of the LVP just with it being waterproof, water resistant, antibacterial, antimicrobial. I hate to say that for any of those people listening, but carpet, it's cleaner. The warranty. I mean, yes, absolutely. It's going to get bigger. Absolutely.
It's really I would say, kind of I guess not an interesting take, but you're like kind of at the forefront, I guess, of that thought process comparatively to many of the other, I guess, small businesses in our industry, because a lot of us or a lot of those companies out there tend to shy away from or almost in a way scared of the commercial type work because they can be overcomplicated or longer processes, or there's a lot of red tape to get through and that kind of thing. Do you think that fear at times is justified, or do you think it's maybe more of just an excuse to stay inside their comfort zone?
I think maybe just inexperience, because we didn't do commercial for a very long time. And then now the more we do it, I think just doing it a couple of times and seeing how well and how good it works, because of course, we do the 2 layers of clear coat and explaining that. I think it's maybe a little bit of fear because you haven't done it. But if you have the right people and installation teams, the right salesperson talking about it to the customer and the customer understands, as long as you have the crew that can do it, you trust to do it right. I think it's just fear, maybe them not doing it, but it's definitely, for us, it's been a game changer for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we like to think of it too. It's inside work in the summer when it's 90 something degrees outside. Our guys, are working in the AC in the schools. I mean, it's inside raining. We're getting ready to do a big chiropractic center, massage center here. We don't have to worry about the weather. We don't have to worry about rain or snow. The guys are busy, inside. So yeah, complete game changer. In the winter months, love those inside jobs.
It's funny you say that. I got brothers, they're twins. They're both journeyman electricians, and one of them is on a job that is in a data center inside, and the other one right now is on a job that is outside. And we're on a text group together, and they text each other. Well, I should say the one texts us almost daily with like, "Man, it got so hot in here today. I had to take my jacket off, and I'm in a t-shirt." And the other one just sends a picture like him shaking his head with just his eyes exposed,
Right.
freezing his butt off outside all day. So yeah, I think those guys are probably appreciative of the the fact that you took the leap of faith that we could probably get this done, or we'll fail trying. But yeah, I'm with you. I think getting outside the comfort zone is a big deal.
Yes. If you can coat a garage or a porch, you can definitely coat an office,
Mm,
offices, hallways. Yeah, absolutely.
sure.
Yeah, and I think that also it's worth mentioning that the network has a lot of people ready to jump in and support you.
Mhm.
And so if there's some
Absolutely.
dealers that have some opportunities that they're like, "Oh man, that's too big," or "I've never done that before, I don't know how." There's like Sullivan's or other organizations that have taken on big projects. Easy to make a connection and make a phone call and say, "How could I jump in and help?" So that's really
Absolutely.
good. This is a marketing question for me. I'm just curious, is there something that I could even pass on to my customers on how you are generating business for commercial work outside of like Facebook marketing or the traditional paid media stuff? Is there anything you're doing in those relationships that you go, man, if you haven't shaken this hand in this organization, go meet them?
Yes. So reaching out to the maintenance department and the local schools, stopping in and seeing big contractors, like stop in and bring them some cookies or donuts with your card. We have marketing books made. They're
Mm-hmm.
amazing. I made them, let me find, with Canva.
Mm-hmm.
I made this marketing book, dropping off a marketing book, which just talks about us, the jobs that we've done, having photos and just dropping that in with some goodies, the big
Mm-hmm.
contractors who do a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the commercial work. We're on Building Connected, Construct Connect, those job bidding, you can pick and choose on the jobs that you bid on. And then the
Mm-hmm.
more you talk to the contractors, just keeping a relationship going with them,
Mm-hmm.
and they will just keep sending you bids.
Yeah.
Got to take care of the people.
That's right.
Yep. Yeah.
Like it.
That's really good. So, if it's okay, we'd like to get a little bit more personal. We do talk about the kind of the personal side of business development. And I understand that you're a mom, you're a wife, you're running a significantly sized concrete coatings business. We talk a lot on the show about is there a myth of work life balance, right? And so, question for you would be, how do you actually manage this chaos without burning out?
Oh my gosh. I would say just lots of practice, lots. And it helps
Yeah.
honestly for me because my kids are older now. They're older and they can kind of manage themselves. If they were toddlers, it would be a completely different story, I'm sure, because as
Yeah.
moms, I still handle the things at home. I'm just a little stressed out sometimes. And my husband knows that. He's
Hmm.
in sales as well, and he's the fire chief here in town. So he's busy
Wow.
and you trying to take time. Sometime I remember my son, he'd tell me, Mom, it's 9 o'clock, time to quit working. So I have to remind myself. But I also always tell my children, if
Mhm.
you want something in life, you have to work hard for it. So
Yeah.
yes, I sacrifice a lot so we can go on vacations. And I think I've instilled that. And then my son, he went to lineman school. So he wants to be a lineman. And now he's in construction until he finds a lineman job. So he works extremely hard. So just
Mhm.
communicating with them. And sometimes it's hard.
Yeah.
Weekends, Sundays, I try to take off and spend time with my family.
Mhm.
I try to make dinner as much as I can. But it is hard as a mom, but it is
Mhm.
easier for me because they are older. So they're
Yeah.
pretty self-sufficient now. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
We were talking before we got on. I got a 7-year-old. He's not quite self-sufficient yet, but
I
we're working on it. But it's funny because we talk about like that. It's that work-life balance. It's kind of a myth, right? The word balance, I think, is probably the myth. I think it's almost probably better to like describe it. At least I personally believe it's probably more of like a compartmentalized kind of thing. Like hey, I'm here and I'm present here, and then I'm there and I'm present there, and
yep.
that's at least the way that I'm, trying to describe it. But those lines, unfortunately, if you're really passionate about what you do and you're, trying to build something and grow something, I think it's, at least for me anyway, it's hard to keep them from blurring every now and again and bleeding from one side to the other. And that'll happen, right? I'm in my kid's game and the phone's ringing and I got to take care of a client or something along those lines. Or hey, my kid's sick at school and I'm in a client meeting. I got to go do what I got to do there. So that's just the reality of it. I'm sure there were times that your family sacrificed on some sides and vice versa. How did you guys handle that in your household? As somebody that maybe went through it, and I'm hopefully getting through it soon with a 7-year-old.
Yes, yes, yes. So, even, I mean, growing up, we didn't go on a lot of vacations. So, like, for me, it's taken a little bit of time and taken my family and reminding them, hey, I mean, I've been on the beach before and I've got my notepad and I'm taking calls and making appointments, on vacation. But
Mhm.
no one has the perfect answer. I mean, there is no perfect balance.
I appreciate you making me feel normal, Telisha.
Yes,
That's it. All right,
Yeah.
cool. I'm good. I'm off the hook. Then I'm good.
yes,
Yep.
yes. No
Yeah.
one is perfect. I
There
mean,
we go.
but the sacrifice, sometimes you have to sacrifice to have the things you want. But my family knows. I mean, they know we love them. They see us
Mhm.
working hard. Of course, when they're sick, we're going to have to reschedule appointments, and do what we have to
Mhm.
do.
Yeah.
I like it.
One of the themes that's come up, and you've said it a lot just across the professional side, and then you brought it up with your family too, is like, say the thing that needs to be said, communicate.
Yes.
You communicate with your kids, hey, we work hard in this family.
Hmm.
You're going to see mom work hard. You're going to see me be busy evenings and weekends. I think I've told this story before, but I do life and business coaching as well. And I was coaching a cardiac surgeon. She works at the Mayo Clinic, and her weeks were like 100-hour work weeks,
Oh,
like just crazy, right? And she was meeting with me because she was struggling with her home life, going, I'm never there. And she had young kids. I think her kids were like 3 and 5. And so we discussed it. I said, do your kids know what you do? She goes, well, not really. They just know I go to work all the time. And I said, have the conversation with them, invite them into the reality that you're passionate about saving lives.
yes.
And
Wow.
she goes, what? And I said, yeah, tell your kids. And a couple weeks later, she came back to me and she goes, my kids now, when I have to leave, they go, mommy, are you going to go save lives? Yeah. Right. And so when
Yeah.
you invite because we know there's seasons of, I have to focus on work for this season. And then maybe I step back and focus on life. And there is that ebb and flow of kind of a teeter totter more
Yes.
than a balance, and just inviting your family into it.
Oh,
And professionally, you said, communicate with your production team. I love that you, as the salesperson, is meeting with production every week. I mean, let's talk about this together. I think that's just powerful stuff.
and I try to ingrain that, and Angie does a really good job. Dina will do a good job. It's so important because as sales reps, we're going in, we're talking to the customer, we're getting to know them. We have to take photos. We have to remember the installation team does not know anything about the job before they get there. So, like taking
Hmm.
photos and notes and going over the job with the installation team. I mean, it's so important to be diligent in doing the right thing all the time. And so you have to communicate that with them as well, especially for commercial. So we have a whole
Hmm.
slideshow presentation and everything we do for the commercial projects. But yeah, just communication is key with the family, everything, installation team.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll
All
tell you
All
right.
this
right.
family though and the balance. So sorry. Is
Yeah.
there's one thing when my daughter was in volleyball, I did not miss a game. I,
Hmm.
certain things like that, I would not miss a game. I might be on my phone some, messaging
Hmm.
customers, but I don't miss games because she has one more
Yeah.
year left. So yeah, there is a balance.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. My son is starting to play baseball, so I've missed one or two, but that's just with a travel event that I've had to go to. But I'm everything I can be at. I'm there, and
Yes.
it's a
Hmm.
lot of fun watching him fall in love with the game. It's pretty cool. So
Absolutely. You
Yeah.
might have to step away and take a phone call, but you're there and they see you're there. So
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And my wife's reminded me not to be the overly aggressive baseball dad at the baseball games the whole time. For
I
sure.
can see that,
hard.
Fitz. I can see that for sure.
All right. All right. Take it easy, Jay. All right.
Man, one of the funniest things, I have 5 kids, 5 boys, and there was a time where my wife and I both had massive regrets. We signed 3 of them up for soccer at the same time,
My
different age groups, and we got to the first Saturday morning and we're like, what have we done? We're like, there's only 2 of us, but there's 3 of them in 3 different soccer fields. And so we both had a rotation and we just walked between the 3 soccer fields and watched as much as we
Yes.
could.
Oh my goodness. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So much fun raising kids.
Yeah.
We're coming up on end of time here. This has been great. Telisha, thanks for showing up, making the time to join with us. Before we wrap up, could you maybe give one piece of advice to someone listening who's working in or on a small business, maybe who wants to step up as a leader, but maybe they feel held back in some way, what would you tell them?
Believe in yourself. If you have the passion and heart and you truly care about the business and want to step into leadership, ask the owner, what can I do better? Ask yourself, but just
That's good.
believe in yourself. Have confidence. Know your worth.
Mhm.
Know that you can do it, and believe in yourself.
Jay, Jay, I feel like if I say anything else, I kind of ruin it after that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Right?
that's good stuff right there, Telisha. That's really good. Leadership, I think, definitely starts with a belief in yourself and your ability, and having some confidence to put yourself out there a little bit. So it definitely starts with that choice. That's good stuff for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Telisha, is there a place that people could connect with you, find you, connect with you, learn more about what you're doing at Sullivan's?
Absolutely. They can reach out to me via Facebook. They can email me,
Okay.
Telisha@sullivanscoating.com. Send me an email anytime. I may not respond immediately, but I will get back to you. Yeah, anytime someone wants to reach out, I'll try my best to get back to them as soon as possible.
Awesome. Well, and I would also say that if you're out there in the Indiana or Kentucky area and you need a garage or patio driveway, or you got a big school that needs some coating, or commercial property out there, check out their website or reach out to her, and I'm sure she will get back to you right away and be happy to help you out with that as well too.
That's
Just
right.
not during a volleyball game.
Yeah.
She'll
That's
get
right.
back to you after the volleyball game.
Yeah, that's good. And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in. If you got value out of this episode, do us a favor, like, subscribe, ring the bell, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Costs you nothing, and it means a lot to us.
We appreciate it. So before we go, want to give you, I guess, a little bit of a sneak peek for next week. We've been talking a lot today about, the psychology or philosophy about like ownership and what it means to lead without, I guess a title necessarily. So next week, Jay and I are going to maybe flip that script a little bit and talk about the dark side of that equation. What happens when the owner becomes the single biggest bottleneck in the company? So it's going to be a conversation or a controversial conversation, and I guarantee it's going to make some people maybe a little uncomfortable.
Does make some people uncomfortable. If you're a business owner, you're not going to want to miss this. So until then, we'll see you next time on the Fitz and Franson Show.
Happy hunting, everybody.